Courage is very misunderstood. If you ask the average person, "Are you brave?" most would answer, "No way." Courage is depicted in movies as someone finding the strength within to stand up to an evil force and slaying it, so that the common people they serve can finally be free. We are sold the idea that being courageous is a rare and monumental event. It's because of such films and imagery of heroes saving us we tend to reserve courage for certain special occasions. With this black and white type of perspective of courage, our lives appear mundane and insignificant, and all heroism is outsourced to somebody outside of us. Our politicians, celebrities, influencers, they all become our courageous leaders. But when we live like that, we miss out on the endless opportunities to live with courage in all areas of our life all the time. What if we changed how we understood courage? What if we switched courage from a big, bold act into a muscle that we either develop or weaken? From that perspective, courage becomes something that someone has instead of something someone is. You aren't strong when you're born. All babies are very weak and defenseless when they enter this world. Strength is something we develop over time with the right habits. Did you eat the right foods? Did you do your daily exercises? Did you stretch, etc.? These constant decisions add up to a life of either health or sickness. It's the same with courage. Courage is a lifestyle. Even if we are faced with the opportunity to be bold and brave, it's all of the many small acts of courage that lead up to that moment will largely define our reaction. Will we seize the opportunity or will we run and hide? Our day-to-day courage adds up to a life of courage. The opposite is also true. Constant acts of avoidance lead us to habits and lifestyles of avoidance. Will you try new things that scare you? Will you do the right thing instead of what's popular? Will you stand up for what you know to be true? There are many small moments throughout our day that can be seen either as trials or as opportunities to exercise the muscle of courage. In general, even the simple act of making eye contact with strangers is something that we don't want to do. This is exactly why we pull out our cell phones during awkward social moments. We as a society have been practicing ignoring each other for so long that our cowardice has taken over our ability to even look at one another. It's the small acts of courage that really define our character and ultimately define our destiny. With sexual integrity, courage is deciding how you want to live in the area of sexuality and to do whatever it takes in order to live up to that standard. It takes courage to admit that you have questions about sexuality. It takes courage to sincerely look into where your sexual worldview came from. It takes courage to ask for help from friends and family. It takes courage to confess to loved ones that you aren't living up to your standards. Without making courage a lifestyle, alternatives become very easy to adopt. Justification suffocates courage. Shame is the supervillain of love. Hiding is the opposite of being free. Courage is confronting the shadows in your life, the secrets, the darkness, the mistakes, the fears, the doubts that you have about yourself or about your faith, the pain that you've caused yourself and others, the disconnect between you and God. It's facing all of that and saying, "I've made these mistakes, but I'm better than this." It's seeking after something better, an upgrade, and a fresh start. It takes courage to look at yourself honestly. It takes courage to have a conversation with yourself about what you really think and about how you really feel. It takes great courage to admit your mistakes to another human being. It takes great courage to be open and honest with real people. It takes great courage to seek a sincere path to restoring your mistakes. So, the more we make a habit of seeking to be honest with ourselves and others, the more courageousness will become our default setting and the easier it will become to live with courage. To develop the muscle of courage is to do what you feel is right all the time, in every circumstance. This means standing up for yourself or other people when you see injustice. It also means having the courage to admit when you're wrong. There can be no joy without courage. When we develop the muscle of courage, we are making a pathway for our hearts to shine and for God to powerfully work in our lives.